What if you could own two brand new homes on one lot and unlock the ultimate multi-generational living setup in the heart of Van Nuys? This isn't your average Los Angeles new construction home tour. This is a rare Van Nuys property for sale with a stunning newly built main home and a completely separate ADU that gives you flexibility, privacy, and incredible income potential. If you're moving to Van Nuys and want modern design, space for extended family, or the ability to generate rental income from day one, this is the kind of opportunity that really hits the market. Let's jump in, and you're going to be blown away. Scott Himmelstein with the Scott Himmelstein Group. All right, so on today's Van Nuys new construction home tour, going to be showing to you the house that's right behind me. Oh man, there is so much to show you guys because you have two houses on one lot. And so you have the main house, which has 5 bedrooms, just over 2,450 square feet of living space. And then you have the back ADU. It's a single-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. That one has 1,200 square feet of living space. So if you're looking for something for multi-generational living or extra income to offset your mortgage, this might be the property for you. Now, I featured a ton of new construction homes on our home tour, right? And we've helped so many of you that have been looking for new construction here in Los Angeles. But as you know, when it comes to new construction, by the time you get the home, then you got to pay for the electrical, the structural and design upgrades, all of those different things. And then you got to do the landscaping. Well, here, all that's been done for you. Everything's been done top notch and very high level. And we're going to be able to show you all of those upgrades and everything that they've done to this house. So we're in Van Nuys, California. Van Nuys located about 40 minutes north of LAX, depending on the traffic, of course. That's north of the 101, and our main cross streets are Sherman Way and Kester. So let's turn around, start this home tour, and can't wait to show you everything this home has to offer. Let's start. All right, from the street, the very first thing you're going to see is that you do have this electric gate. So it gives you tons of privacy. And as you come onto the driveway, notice the large concrete pavers interconnected with the artificial grass. Over to your left, you have your drought-tolerant landscaping. Everybody appreciates that, so that way you don't have to be increasing your water bill just for your front yard. You have the modern outdoor exterior lighting. You have the brand new garage door. And then, of course, you have this gorgeous iron door right here as it takes us to the interior of the house. Welcome inside the 5-bedroom, 4.5-bathroom main house. So we're on the downstairs level where we entered from right now. And so that you basically have your dining room, your kitchen, as well as your living room. So the very first room that you're going to see as you enter into this home is going to be your formal living room right off the entry. You have tons of natural light coming in, and these are Andersen windows. So these aren't, your cheap vinyl windows that you quite often see when somebody remodels a house. These are high-end Andersen windows. Also take a look where the vents are for your air conditioning and heater for your HVAC system up here on the ceiling, and tons of recessed lighting. So a lot of natural light pouring into here. You're going to have your oak wood floor. So, most of the time when it comes to new construction, a majority of the new construction model homes just have luxury vinyl planks. But take a look at these large planks of the oak wood flooring. So if you're familiar with new construction and what they charge, typically a lot of the builders, for a home this size, you could easily be spending $40,000 to $80,000 depending on what type of flooring that you actually choose. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it here, but you do have your garage also right here. And turn on the light. They have the epoxy finish. So if you had to do an epoxy finish yourself, easily run you, I would say between $3,500 to $5,000 on the high side. A lot of the builders, when it comes to new construction, charge anywhere from $7,500 to almost $9,000. So it is important to mention that this home is actually hooked up, ready to connect a solar system if you decide to put one, as well as a car charger. All right, so let's continue on downstairs. You're going to have your half bathroom in here with your designer hexagonal tile. And then take a look at this. What do you think of this designer green wallpaper and paint here in this half bathroom? I actually dig it. really does go with the gold. You got the gold finishes on the handles on your cabinetry right here on the vanity, as well as the faucet, the handles, and the drain stopper. And then take a look at this. So you got the white and the gray, and I kind of think the green kind of gives it a little extra character in my opinion, but would love to hear what you have to say. So as we move on down here, now you're going to have the formal dining room right off the kitchen. And you got a nice view of the backyard as well from this space. You have the chef's gourmet kitchen here. Now I want to show you this on the island. So, we do see more and more these days. You have that split two-tone between the island and the cabinetry in the rest of the kitchen. And you have that here also. But most of the time, you don't see black. And I actually like what they did here. I think it kind of gives some character because they have the black faucet right there. You have the grates right here that are black. But see, look, you have the gold colored handles on your cabinetry right over here. And then look at your quartz countertop right here. So you got the combination of that gray, gold, brown hues in there. And so when you combine that with the light colored flooring, and then you have a contrast just a little bit in your cabinetry, it makes sense that you're going to want to have something right here that's going to be a darker color. So that way you can kind of have a focal point in this kitchen, which your island is. You can easily sit right here, 3 chairs, a couple of stools right here. And let me know how you would want to set that up. So this is your island counter. Great area to kind of be able to entertain, grab a quick meal when you're not always here at your formal dining table. Now, in addition to everything here, you do have stainless steel appliances, whether it be your trash compactor, it's going to be your dishwasher, your Zline right here, freestanding range, 6-burner cooktop, as well as the oven. You have your stainless steel hood. And then this glass over here is frosted, and that takes you inside as we turn on the light in here to underneath the staircase, which is meant to be your walk-in pantry. And then included as well is your stainless steel refrigerator. Now we're going to walk across over here. We're going to save the backyard for later in this video. But as we enter over here, you have 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom downstairs. That's not your half bathroom. So we already showed you the half bathroom. And so this bathroom is attached to the 1 bedroom downstairs. You have the touchscreen mirror, the white and gray on your quartz countertop, and then the herringbone design on the vanity. Over to your left, you're going to have this shower enclosure with the sitting bench, the niche, and the shower head itself is black, but inside you have the hexagonal tiles and the designer tile going from floor to ceiling. And it's the same as you have on the flooring itself. Now, outside again, as you look over here, you're going to have 6 recessed lights in this room. You also have the mirrored closet. So let me know what you think of this downstairs level. All right, Scott Himmelstein with the Scott Himmelstein Group. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch another one of our home tours. All right, so what do you think of this home so far? Well, I've been doing this again, if you haven't been watching our videos, for over 21 years right now, and blessed to have almost 265-star reviews on Zillow and Google combined. But at the end of the day, it's about you. And, because I've helped so many new construction clients, not just from our channel, but just in general over the course of the last 20 years, really have a good idea of what you should expect when it comes to new construction and be able to answer all of your questions, because there's different types of new construction, right? Are you building from scratch? Are you buying a quick move-in home? Are you building a one-off from a builder, right? There's different questions for each that you need to be able to answer. So if you want more information about new construction here in Los Angeles, feel free to reach out. Always glad to be able to answer any of the questions that you might have when it comes to new construction. And, sometimes it might just be, what are the warranties that are involved when buying new construction with a builder that's typically a large corporation as opposed to a one-off, right? Who maybe only does one home every 5-10 years, or it's their first time. So these are the type of things that, questions I'm able to answer just for starters. All right, let's get back to the home tour and show you the upstairs portion of this home. All right, so making our way to the second floor right now. So on the second level, you are going to have 3 of the 4 bedrooms are en suite, so they have their own private bathroom, and you're also going to have a laundry room. So again, continuing with the oak wood flooring, the very first bedroom over to our left, right? You again see all the recessed lighting above. And you do have, as the light turns on for us graciously, you do have all of the built-ins in this walk-in closet. And then now we arrive at the bathroom that's attached to this bedroom. The light turns on for us. Fortunately, you have dual sinks on your vanity with the quartz countertop. And then I like how they're able to contrast the colors here, right? Because you have the white and the gray veins in the quartz countertop. And then you have this lighter gray tile that's a very soft look on the eyes. And then on the vanity itself, the cabinetry, you have those wood tones with the black handles right on your faucet, as well as the drain stopper. So you got the black in there, right? And then of course you've got your grays, and they all flow together. Now, as we get to the shower enclosure, you have your sitting bench with your square tiles, black colored shower head, and surround on your niche. And then, as you can see here, they have the same tile in the shower enclosure as they do on the flooring itself. And then they were smart. You don't see this very often, but they were smart because they brought it all the way up halfway up the wall. I'd probably say maybe it's probably closer to about 35-40%, but as opposed to just having a normal wall. And I think it kind of really has a more polished look when you're able to do that. All right, so that's your first bedroom upstairs. The second one over right behind it, this one's staged as an office. This one does have mirrored closets. This is the only bedroom that doesn't have an attached bath to it. But again, you have a nice view of the ADU in the back. And then I just want to come back now because now we're facing the other way from the staircase. And you can see the very high ceilings right here. And I love the wood accent coming down right there. Okay, over to our right is the next room, and this is our laundry room. I really do dig this tile. We've been using a lot of times to get a lot of our listings ready for sale. It comes in a variety of different colors. You've seen it in green, blue. Obviously, they have it in black. So I think it just gives you a plethora of different ways to be able to design the space or the room that you might be looking for. So because you have the design here, you're going to look for a more simple design for the rest of the room. You're not going to see patterns on the cabinetry or the countertop. So here you do have the quartz countertop. You have your stainless steel sink basin in this laundry room. And then I do really think they did a nice job of picking this green. I think the green contrasts the black, and it's a softer green. It's not too much of a dark green, those dark forest green. So I do really think that was a good choice in the color. So, and because you don't have anything in your quartz countertop as far as veins go, it's just a plain white quartz countertop, you're able to have that contrast between the green, the black, and then again, the black and the gray in your pattern tile flooring. And I think it all flows well it should. So here in the hallway, you got your hallway closet, and then over to your right, you got another space as well. I think most people here, you can either put in a built-in to kind of hang more stuff. Maybe you put your electronics, such as your Wi-Fi, your routers, if you're putting any surround sound in, stuff like that. All right, we're gonna come back to the primary bedroom in a moment. And then this is going to be another bedroom upstairs. Now this one faces the front of the house. You have all that light coming into the room. Again, you're going to have your custom built-ins in your walk-in closet. So this is a pretty good size, right? And then this one does have a private bathroom attached to it. So you have the green cabinetry on your vanity, the white countertop on top of the vanity. And then in your shower and tub enclosure, they kept it simple because you already have the green here, so you don't want to do anything too crazy. So they went with white with the black grout, right? Because the shower enclosure is surrounded by black. And then you have in your hexagonal tiles down below, you have that white and black mixture in your color. So let's step out of here. We're going to go over to our left and back over to the right, and we make our way into the primary bedroom. So in this primary bedroom, as the light does come on finally, or in this case, just forgot to turn it on, So as we step back here, look, this is a pretty big space right here, enough room to obviously put the couch and a really good sized bed. And you have a couple of nightstands in here also. You also do have a balcony, right, from this room. So you can be able to get up early and watch the world go by and enjoy your morning coffee. So now we're able to turn around and be able to see the same space from the opposite side. And as we walk in front of us, this is going to be your walk-in closet for this primary bedroom. And just like all the walk-in closets, they all have those custom built-in. And if you're familiar how much the custom built-ins cost, you'll know that these are quite expensive, even if it's someone like Closet World. All right, so the primary bathroom is going to have a shower enclosure. And this one right here is going to have the black cabinetry on the vanity, no color on the quartz countertop, just white. And then we've seen already in this house, right, this tile down below. We saw it, remember, in the bathroom downstairs also as part of the guest bedroom. So you kind of have like that grayish white with a little bit of brown and gold tones. Awesome. Inside your glass shower enclosure, you're going to see that same tile that you have here on the flooring. You have your sitting bench, and then this is your shower head, and you have a small niche also. So let me know what you think of this second level. So we've arrived into the backyard. We exited from the inside to the outside from that door off the formal dining area. Up above, you do have your ceiling fan and tons of recessed lighting. Down below, you're going to see this grayish tile, which I think is a great way to separate the space from the rest of the patio from the actual covered patio itself. And look how luscious this green grass is. And so you have all this space over here. Now, you could easily fit a swimming pool in here if you wanted to. Swimming pool in today's world kind of would cost you about $80,000. Yeah, you can see your tankless water heater. And then again, they have these concrete pieces intersected by the artificial grass. So over to our right, this is going to be the accessory dwelling unit that we were talking about earlier. This one is going to be 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. So this one is 1,200 square feet. So because it's detached from the home as opposed to a converted garage or just added space that's attached to the main house, so you can add up to 1,200 square feet. One of the things that I truly like about this is that it's a 1-story. So it's going to feel a lot more spacious than some of the 2-story ADUs that you might see, especially the ones that are on top of the garage, right? So they use the garage space and then they build up on top of it and it ends up becoming 2-story. So I think it helps your rental pool, or especially if you're looking for multi-generational living. I think it's easier, especially if you're having older, parents or in-laws, even teenagers. Not everybody wants to go up steps all the time. So having a single level ADU like this is probably the way to go if you can. You have this really nice patio area in front, and let's make our way inside to this 3-bedroom ADU. All right, so inside this accessory dwelling unit, 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. And like I talked about outside, it doesn't feel cramped. It feels pretty spacious, right? They had a pretty good use of space. So let's start here with this living room space right off the entry into your ADU. Now, many times, especially on the 2-story ones, it seems that you just got a sliver of space in between where the wall is and when your sofa might be. So it's kind of hard to put up a TV, in my opinion. So here you have enough space. Otherwise, in my opinion, the analogy that I would use is, think of when you go to the movie theater and you basically sit in the first 2 or 3 rows and your neck hurts afterwards after watching the movie because your neck is pointed upwards. And I kind of feel like that's kind of what you'd be looking at also if you were to put in a larger TV in a lot of the ADUs. Not the case here. Now, I do also want to say that I really like the piece that they used here for the table when it comes to staging this home. And I think this is probably the appropriate table to use in this ADU. This is an accessory dwelling unit, right? You're not hosting the main supper, most people here in this accessory, but you need a table, you need a place to be able to sit. There's no room for a breakfast bar or anything like that. So in this basically brand new kitchen, you're going to have that waterfall edge. You have the white quartz countertop on top. And then you have basically the same color cabinetry that you saw in the kitchen in the main house. So you have that contrast with the oak wood flooring that you have throughout here in this ADU outside of the tile in the bathrooms. You have stainless steel appliances. You have your built-in microwave, your freestanding range from Samsung, stainless steel sink, basin, dishwasher, and the refrigerator is included. Now I'm going to step back just for a second here because I want you to see the cabinetry. So this cabinetry goes all the way to the top, not to the very top of the ceiling, but much higher than most. And so that's a big feature that a lot of buyers are looking for right now when it comes to new construction, is having that cabinetry, right? Because, this ADU, it doesn't have its own garage, so storage space is going to be at a premium. So you know how it goes, where you got a lot of these things where maybe you don't use maybe more than once or twice a year, but you don't want to have to store them in a closet. And so this is kind of the perfect space for those seasonal items that you may use in the kitchen or somewhere else in the house. All right, so again, 3 bedrooms. Let's take a look at the first one right here. So again, all the recessed lighting on top, mirrored doors, and then this is the built-ins that you will have in your closet. So I like the fact that they continued with the built-ins in the closets, even here in the ADU. And then over to our left, this is going to be the built-ins in this closet. Now this one's a little smaller, but again, take a look at the attention to detail, because the knobs on the drawers match the black right there on the door to the closet itself, and even the hinges. So I like that. Kind of keeps the color theme going throughout the entire house. Now let's take a look at the hallway bathroom. The hallway bathroom has that white tile that we saw in the main house in one of the bedrooms upstairs, or I should say the bathrooms upstairs, with that black wrap. And then you have your shower and tub enclosure with the niche. You have your black colored shower head, as well as the black colored faucet. You have your circular mirror, and then you kind of have that rustic look once again on the cabinetry of this vanity with your black handle. So that leaves us right here to the primary bedroom of this ADU. And again, sounds like a broken record, but you got your recessed lighting, and here you have a little more room than the other 2 bedrooms in your walk-in closet. Okay, that leaves us with the very last space in this ADU, and that is the attached bathroom. So again, 2 bathrooms in total in this accessory dwelling unit. You have the gray tile, not only here on the flooring, but in the shower enclosure. It goes from top to bottom. And then you have a lighter colored gray that has a little bit of brown in it in the shower enclosure on the bottom, those gray squares. And then it contrasts it all, right? You have the white from the toilet, as well as the white from the counter here on your vanity, and the white cabinetry. And I like how they were able to kind of contrast it, because I think the black may have been a little too much, but because, look at this, because you have gray right in here. Let's go inside. Push this open if we can. So notice that you have your shower head right here, and that is kind of have like that chrome nickel finish to it. And then you have the same on the handle into the shower enclosure. So it would have been weird if you would have actually put a black colored, basically faucet handles, as well as the spigot and drain stopper on that. So let me know what you think of this ADU. 3 bedrooms, 1,200 square feet. And then I think for a lot of people, this is going to make sense because, if you're looking for a true multi-generational living, right? Again, if you have parents or in-laws, or maybe you want to have your teenager in the back, or maybe you want to have a home office, this is going to be a great space. And again, it's single level, not 2 stories also. All right, so what do you think of this home? 5 bedrooms in the main house, 4.5 bathrooms, plus you have 3 bedrooms and 2 baths in the ADU here in the back. All brand new construction, all built here in 2025, all with high-end materials. So what do you think of this? What would you have done differently if you were building and constructing this house? And if you're looking to buy a home here in the greater Los Angeles area, I'd love to hold your hand and walk you through the entire process, whether it begins with a Zoom call at the very beginning on your timeline to basically being with you from beginning to end. And so it's something that I really enjoy doing and being able to help our buyers navigate this crazy real estate market, because there's some areas in Los Angeles that are still getting multiple offers. Some homes are still getting multiple offers, but others aren't. And so how do you know, based on the comparables, what's really happening in the real estate market. And whether it be myself or somebody else, you really need to find the right real estate agent that's right for you. Not your cousin, twice removed, who basically has done one deal in the last 12 years. You need a professional to be able to sit you down and be able to answer all your questions in detail. So that way, when you're actually going out there to look at houses, you actually know what to expect and you can kind of work with your agent when it comes to that. So any questions about that, feel free to reach out. Any questions about our channel, also feel free to reach out. Thanks again so much for watching another one of our home tours, and I'll see you on the next one.